Hello, America. Once again, I'm so happy, especially this week, Thanksgiving Day week, right? I mean, this is it. This is what makes us America. This is an American tradition. We're here, we join together with our families and our friends. We maybe drink a little eggnog, eat some turkey, watch a football game. This is the tradition that most people around the world envy us about, and it's filled with history. But mostly, it's a time where we can appreciate one another, appreciate what we've been given, the gifts we have, our great nation, our families, and the importance of saying thank you and giving thanks for what we have. So I'm going to focus on some fun stuff. I'm going to be serious about some other stuff. But I got to tell you, last week's impeachment hearings, I literally thought my head was going to blow off my shoulders at some point. God, was that boring? And then it was boring, and then it was weird, and then we had Ambassador Gordon Sondland, and he was quid pro quo in the beginning, then no quid pro quo on the part of President Trump in the end. I mean, it was just craziness. I felt like I was on a roller coaster ride going up and down, up and down. It was funny. I did Laura Ingram's show last week, and she was so hilarious. I mean, right live on the show, she was like, it was so boring that I actually went shopping in between. I was so jealous. I thought, God, if I could have just gone shopping during the testimony, I probably would have felt a lot better. I wouldn't have wanted to basically throw myself off the balcony. Just kidding. But there were some really funny moments, actually, during the impeachment hearings. While the Democrats are so desperately drooling and bloodthirsty to go after the president, they're desperate to impeach him. Remember, next week, after the Thanksgiving holiday break, they're going to come back, and the Democrats are going to be like, whoa, did you remember what happened 2 weeks ago? And they're going to give you the highlights of things that really didn't happen. And that's where the highlights of things that really don't happen. You know, that takes me back to the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff, you recall, who was reading the transcripts, completely made up transcripts of President Trump's private call with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And he sat there and he just made it up. Reading with his eyes wide open and his intensity about how President Trump was basically working and colluding with this Ukrainian president to investigate Joe Biden. Remember that? That craziness? I mean, even people in his own party were sitting there going, what is he reading from? That wasn't the conversation. But he sends it out there, this big disinformation campaign, right? So we're supposed to believe that that was the actual conversation. Hi, Schiff, reminder, President Trump released the transcripts. Did not agree with him on that. I didn't. But he released the transcripts. And so everybody knows what's in them. You could just go online and read them. Just go to Google. Everybody's, on the web now. Let's just read them. And there they are. But this was so funny at last week's hearing. I lost myself, and it was none other than ranking Republican Devin Nunes responding to Adam Schiff during the opening statement of the second half of the most boring testimony on planet Earth Wednesday night.
For those of you at home, it's time to change the channel, turn down the volume, or hide the kids, put them to bed. Now I yield to Mr. Schiff for story time hour.
I yield to Mr. Schiff for story time hour. I almost lost it because my daughter was actually in the room with my husband and I believe it was right during that point, or maybe it was during a rerun of it. At some point, she was in the room and she thought that Adam Schiff was going to read her a story so she could go to bed. How weird is that? She is like, I'm like, no, he's not going to read you a story. You don't want to see this. Well, she probably would have fallen asleep right away and wouldn't have kept the family up all night. But let's go back. I mean, this is Thanksgiving. I want us to have fun here. There were so many fun things that happened last week. And Eric Swalwell was one of them. just listen to what happened on MSNBC Live and then judge for yourselves.
Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And the complaint that I've heard from Republicans all last week was that you don't have anyone who heard the call. Chris.
Okay, Jenny's laughing with me. Jenny Terr is here, and she is a great writer, and she works with me. She's amazing. Jenny, did he or did he not? Now, Eric Swalwell, Congressman Eric Swalwell, denies that he farted live on MSNBC. In fact, MSNBC tried to say that was a mug rolling across a table. And by the way, everybody on the planet that saw that or saw clips of that then became investigators. And I can't tell you how many times I was in tears as people were rolling their mugs across tables and they weren't making any sounds on social media. Jenny, what did you think? Did he or did he not do it?
He definitely did. And also, I asked the girl
she works for me
at Fox who does your mic every night, I said, do you think it's real based on what you know about the audio issues? She said it's 100% real.
Wow. Proof, people that work in audio. Now we have witnesses, people with expertise that say Eric Swalwell let one go on MSNBC. And there was a pause, wasn't there? There was like a little pause. Can we play that again? Just let's listen for the pause, folks. This is Thanksgiving weekend. We're going to have fun.
Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
Did you hear it? Did you hear the pause?
There was definitely a pause.
There was a pause. There was a slight, like a stiffen up. You're trying to hold it in. It came out, pause. That was it. That was it, folks. I don't know, but I gotta say thank you. Thank you. I've met Representative Swalwell before. I met the congressman. He's always been very nice, very cordial. I've never heard that sound come out of him, but there you go. But I just want to thank him because I was about to lose my mind last week. Everything was so serious. And an accidental fart or toot, as my daughter would say, turned that around for everyone. Even Pierce Morgan across the pond in Great Britain had just, I mean, he was hilarious. It was funny. It was just a laugh heard around the world, literally. Okay, we're going to get serious now because there's so much happening and so much coming up, too. I just want to remind you guys, I want to hit the ticker, right, of what's going on here. First, I want to play something really quick. Mike Turner, Congressman Mike Turner, remember this from last week at the hearings, Mike Turner catching Gordon Sondland. I mean, really hammering on him about the quid pro quo statement that he made originally in his opening statement to Congress, and then how he had to back down and admit that it was just a presumption.
After you testified, Chairman Schiff ran out and gave a press conference and said he gets to impeach the President of the United States because of your testimony. And if you pull up CNN today, right now, their banner says Sondland ties Trump to withholding aid. Is that your testimony today, Ambassador Sondland, that you have evidence that Donald Trump tied the investigations to the aid? Because I don't think you're saying that.
I've said repeatedly, Congressman, I was presuming. I also said that President Trump...
So no one told you, not just the president. Giuliani didn't tell you. Mulvaney didn't tell you. Nobody, Pompeo didn't tell you. Nobody else on this planet told you that Donald Trump was tying aid to these investigations. Is that correct?
I think I already testified.
No, answer the question. Is it correct? No one on this planet told you that Donald Trump was tying this aid to the investigations. Because if your answer is yes, then the chairman's wrong and the headline on CNN is wrong. No one on this planet told you that President Trump was tying aid to investigations. Yes or no?
Yes.
So.
Ooh, that was so great. That was stellar. That was like a Super Bowl moment. Go Mike Turner. I mean, what a great bit of questioning. I mean, he held him accountable. He kept charging. Don't elaborate. Just yes or no. Yes or no. Do you have evidence? See, this is what this is all about, people. This is about State Department officials and high-ranking people that have spent their career, bureaucrats that have spent their life working and manipulating and moving around the bureaucracy. They don't look at the president, not really, as someone that they have to deal with. They're going to be there forever. The president's only there for a short period of time in their eyes. And when a president doesn't cooperate with this machine, with this bureaucracy, then they become the target of the bureaucracy. President Trump, more so than any other president. This is why we have to go back and focus on what really is real here. And that's the investigation that is being conducted by Attorney General William Barr and John Durham. How did this all happen? Don't let them distract you with this craziness, with this impeachment. Don't let them distract you by all these stories. Don't let anyone distract you from the facts, the hardcore facts that over the last 3 years we've pushed out there. And we have shown the American public, not just as a journalist. I mean, I know I've worked really hard on these stories for the last 3 years. John Solomon, Amali Hemingway, Chuck Ross. I know I'm forgetting a million people here that are probably, well, not a million. Let's be honest. It's been about 10 people that have actually investigated this. Byron York and others who have really focused on these stories to get the truth out to the American public. And let's not forget Judicial Watch and all the incredible work that Tom Fitton, by the way, happy Thanksgiving to all of them, to Judicial Watch and all those people that support it. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Tom Fitton and Chris Farrell, for the incredible work. And thank you for the incredible work that you've done in being able to expose a lot of this. These are the people that are telling you the truth. These are the facts. These are documented pieces of evidence that actually reveal what was going on inside the FBI and the DOJ during the 2016 election and how they targeted this campaign. That's what we've got to do. And now we have Inspector General Michael Horowitz coming up. And Jenny cut this really great clip right here. It's Graham is demanding docs from the State Department. And Graham announced that Horowitz is basically going to release his report on December 9th. We know Horowitz is testifying on December 11th, and that's on his report into the FISA abuse, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act abuse that took place, that we believe took place by the FBI and the DOJ. So let's play that clip right now, David, the one of Graham. I think it's a great clip.
I want to know from Mike Pompeo, are there any records of what the vice president talked about? Why were you calling the president of Ukraine after? Release them. But here's what's so odd. Instead of congratulating the prosecutor for going after the dirtiest guy in the Ukraine, they wound up firing him. Did it have anything to do with the fact that Hunter Biden was on his board? You got to remember that the vice president's son was serving on a board that was run by the dirtiest guy in the Ukraine, according to our own ambassador in 2015.
So you're going to have on September 11th, the Inspector General will be before your committee. I'm hoping we get a number of days and not on a Friday, a dump.
It'll be December the 9th. You'll get the report.
December the 9th. That's locked.
That's locked.
Wow. December 9th, Horowitz's report comes out, and now Graham is demanding all of the phone conversations that former Vice President Joe Biden had with the then Ukrainian government. Let's find out. I mean, look, hey, they want President Trump's phone calls out there. Why shouldn't we see what Vice President Biden was doing with the Ukrainian government at that time, whose son was being paid tens of thousands of dollars a month, somewhere between $36,000 to $66,000 a month by an alleged corrupt Ukrainian energy company giant, right? He was sitting on the board of Burisma Holdings Limited, which is now under investigation by the Ukrainian government for corruption. It is now under investigation. That's a story that Reuters published last week. That's how important this is. We need to know the truth. This is not about targeting everyone. This is not about impeachment. This is about corruption at a level that we've never seen before exposed, right? Look, if they're going to go after President Trump on the most minutia of issues, why should we not investigate what happened here in Ukraine? This is so important. It's so important. And it's something we've got to watch these developments. We now know that Graham is asking for these documents. Look, nobody is alleging that Joe Biden, former vice president, committed any kind of crime. Nobody is alleging that his son committed any kind of crime. But look, they want to investigate Trump on every little thing, every step he takes, everything he does, whoever he talks to, every phone call leaked, everything he does, even inside the White House, being watched 24 hours a day. That's never happened before. And now we have evidence. We know. We've seen it in Peter Schweizer's book, where he wrote about, Hunter Biden getting all of this money from the board of Burisma. We know about it now from John Solomon's stories. We just got to look at the facts. We just have to see these facts. And hopefully Congress will get to the bottom of it, and the Department of Justice and the State Department will cooperate, and everything will be fine. We hope. But we know how hard these battles really are. Now I want to go back to Thanksgiving. First, I want to say thank you to all the men and women in our military and in our intelligence community and their families who serve every day in this volunteer service and put their lives on the line to ensure the safety of our country, to ensure that we can wake up every morning and be free of tyranny and be free of terror, and that we can stand up and, yes, we can say things directly to our president without the fear that we're going to be arrested or thrown in prison like we see in other countries, like, for example, Hong Kong and other places around the world, even in Russia, in Iran, and in places where people have absolutely no freedoms. I think it's important for us to remember that so many have sacrificed their lives. And I want on this Thanksgiving, if you would, and a big shout out to my most amazing husband, Martin, who is like, I don't know what my life would be like without him. He's just incredible, and he's a war hero, and he's always going to be a hero to me. And every morning he gets up and he loves life. And believe it or not, he put in a fence with another man, completely blind, huh, Jenny? He puts in a fence. He's like making other husbands look bad, because a lot of husbands, a lot of his friends will be like, oh, listen, Marty, please don't do any more work around the house. You're doing it blind, and I have to hire someone because I don't want to do it. But it's amazing. I mean, these are the things that I'm grateful for. I'm so grateful that he's alive and he's with my family, and that we have this beautiful daughter, and that we have these dogs. By the way, going back to Eric Swalwell here, I know I'm bouncing around a lot in this podcast, but a lot of people like to blame the dogs for their own flatulence. Let's just not do that. Remember, at Thanksgiving, I want you to think about Eric Swalwell and his denial, and I want that to put a smile on your face. And by the way, if you're all arguing at the dinner table over politics, you can always pull up those videos on your cell phone, and everybody will just break down laughing, and everybody will get back to normal. Oh, and by the way, definitely play the video. I'm not going to play that for you now because it's kind of long, but if you go online to Tom Shillue parodies Adam Schiff, you will have a great laugh. I mean, you'll lose yourself. It's so funny. It's so funny. Again, happy Thanksgiving, America. Happy Thanksgiving for being such an amazing nation with so many amazing people. To all you Walmart shoppers out there, Target shoppers, like me, who, by the way, Walmart is awesome in Wyoming, where my daughter goes to school. They got everything, super organized. Shout out to Walmart in Wyoming, and to everybody in Wyoming, and to everybody across this great, beautiful country of ours. Have fun with your families. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for being a part of the Sara Carter podcast. Please visit me for the latest stories at saracarter.com. That's saracarter.com. I am coming to you from Hillsdale College Kirby Center here in Washington, D.C. Remember, we are taking back the story. We are with you day in and day out. And I just want to say, I love you, America. Happy Thanksgiving.